Welcome to The Explainer. What if I told you that you could grow food with fish? Today, we're diving deep into aquaponics, a really cool system that brings fish and plants together in one super efficient loop to grow fresh food basically anywhere. So let's just get right to it. Can you really use fish to grow things like lettuce and tomatoes? It sounds a little out there, I know, but the answer is a huge yes. And honestly, it's a total game changer for sustainable growing. So what is this magic called? It's aquaponics, and it's basically a self-sustaining mini ecosystem you can build in your backyard. Think about it. The fish waste becomes organic food for the plants, and the plants, in turn, clean the water for the fish. It's a perfect win-win situation that uses something like 90% less water than regular farming. Incredible, right? Okay, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the science, then we'll walk through the different types of systems you can build. After that, we'll talk about picking the right fish and plants, go over the must-have hardware, and wrap up with how to fix the common problems that might pop up. First things first, let's pull back the curtain and look at the engine that drives this whole thing, the amazing nitrogen cycle. It really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, your fish do their thing and produce waste, which is full of ammonia. Now, too much ammonia is toxic for them. That's where step 2 comes in. Beneficial bacteria, kind of like the invisible workforce of your system, convert that ammonia into nitrates. And then, step 3, the plants soak up those nitrates like a superfood, which not only helps them grow big and strong, but also leaves the water perfectly clean for the fish. And just like that, the cycle starts all over again. All right, so now that you get the basic science, let's get practical. How do you actually build one of these things? Turns out there's more than one way to set up an aquaponics system, and each one has its own pros and cons. This little chart here is your best friend when you're starting out. It lays out the 3 main types of systems. You've got your media bed, your raft system, which you'll also hear called deep water culture, or DWC, and then there's the nutrient film technique, or NFT. You can see right away how they compare on complexity, space, and what they're really good at growing. This is a great starting point for figuring out which one is right for you. So the media bed system is the one everyone recommends for beginners, and for good reason. Your plants grow in a bed filled with something like clay pebbles. Water from the fish tank floods the bed, feeds the plants, and then drains out. It's simple, it works, and that media acts as a fantastic filter, which makes the whole system really, really forgiving while you're learning. Now, if you're thinking about going big, the raft system is basically the commercial powerhouse. In this setup, plants float on these foam rafts in big troughs of water. It's super stable and lets you grow a ton of leafy greens like lettuce, which is why you see it so often in larger farms. And what if you don't have a lot of space? Well, that's where the NFT system comes in. It's a really clever design where your plants sit in these long channels and a thin film, a nutrient film, get it, of water constantly flows over their roots. It barely uses any water, and it's perfect for vertical setups, making it a favorite for growing herbs and lettuce in cities. Okay, so an aquaponics system isn't just hardware, right? It's a living ecosystem. And that means picking the right inhabitants is absolutely critical. So let's talk about the stars of the show, the fish and the plants. For fish, tilapia is king. They're tough, they grow fast, and hey, you can even eat them. But if you're not planning on harvesting your fish, something simple like goldfish or guppies works great too. The main thing is to keep their water happy. That means a pH around 8.0 and a nice warm 85 degrees Fahrenheit. As for how many fish, a good rule of thumb is 1 fish for about every 6.5 gallons of grow bed media. On the plant side of things, leafy greens are always a safe bet. They grow like crazy and just love all those nitrates. Now, if you want to grow bigger stuff like tomatoes or peppers, you're going to want a media bed system. Why? Because that media gives their roots something sturdy to hold on to. All right, we've got our fish and we've got our plants. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts, the hardware that holds this whole amazing ecosystem together. We're talking tanks, pumps, and all the plumbing in between. Okay, listen up, because this is a really important rule of thumb. Your fish tank needs to hold at least twice the volume of your grow bed. And the reason is simple. When your grow bed floods, the water level in the fish tank drops. You never want it to drop so low that it stresses out your fish, or, even worse, leaves your pump sucking air. If you're building a media bed system, you have to know about the bell siphon. This thing is pure genius. It's the heartbeat of your system, creating that flood and drain cycle automatically, just using physics. No timers, no moving parts, no electricity. It just works, and it gives your plant roots that perfect mix of water and oxygen they need to thrive. And here's something people often forget: aeration. Just because the water is moving doesn't mean there's enough oxygen in it for your fish. As the folks at Lartman Farms found out, adding a simple little air stone can make a massive difference in how healthy and happy your fish are.
Look, even with the perfect setup, things can go a little sideways sometimes. Nature's all about balance, right? So let's talk about how to troubleshoot some of the most common issues you might run into.
Bad water quality is probably the #1 problem for beginners. High ammonia, usually because you're feeding your fish a little too much, can be really dangerous for them. The best way to stay on top of it is to test your water once a week. If the numbers look off, just ease up on the feeding and maybe do a small 10 or 15% water change. So what if your plants are looking a little sad? Yellow leaves, not much growth. It could be a nutrient deficiency. But before you do anything else, check your water's pH. If the pH is out of whack, the plants can't absorb the nutrients that are already there. If the pH is good, you can give them a little boost with something organic and fish-safe, like seaweed extract.
And then there's the dreaded algae. Here's the thing. Algae loves the exact same stuff your plants do. Lots of nutrients and lots of light. So the fix is actually pretty simple. You just have to limit the light that hits any open water. Seriously, just putting a cover or some shade over your fish tank can make a world of difference. And that's pretty much it. We've gone through the science, the different systems, the fish and plants, the hardware, and even how to fix things when they go wrong. You now have the blueprint to get started on your own aquaponics adventure. So I guess there's only one question left. Are you ready to build your own ecosystem?